Hey folks, welcome back to Caprio Courtroom Moments. Today you're going to witness a 19-year-old who thinks he's untouchable walk into Judge Caprio's courtroom. He's got designer clothes, a luxury car, and an attitude that's about to get completely destroyed. Because Judge Caprio discovers this kid has been using his 79-year-old grandmother like a personal ATM machine, draining her retirement savings for parties while she can barely afford groceries. Before we dive in, do me two quick favors. Hit that subscribe button right now. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers, and you don't want to miss cases like this. And drop a comment, tell me where you're watching from. London, Sydney, Chicago? I want to know how far these stories are reaching, because elder abuse is happening everywhere, and we need to talk about it. All right, let's watch Judge Caprio deliver some real justice.
Providence Municipal Court, Wednesday morning, 9:47 a.m. Most people walking through these courthouse doors are here for minor infractions. A parking ticket, an expired inspection sticker, maybe a fender bender in a grocery store parking lot. Standard stuff that gets handled in 10 minutes. Then the doors swing open and Marcus Chen walks in, 19 years old. Designer sunglasses pushed up on his head even though he's indoors. A leather jacket that probably cost $4,000. Sneakers so white and pristine they've clearly never touched actual pavement. And the confidence. That particular swagger that comes from never being told no in your entire life. Outside in the visitor parking lot sits a cherry red Mercedes-AMG GT, $97,000 worth of precision German automotive engineering. Custom rims, tinted windows. The kind of car that makes people turn their heads and wonder who's driving it. Inside the courtroom, Judge Frank Caprio sits behind the bench, reviewing a case file that should be routine. Traffic violations, reckless driving, driving without proper insurance documentation. The kind of thing he handles 50 times a week. But as he reads deeper into the file, his eyebrows furrow. Something's off. The car registration doesn't match the defendant's name. There are financial documents attached that shouldn't be in a traffic case. And there's a witness listed, a 79-year-old woman named Chen, the defendant's grandmother. What Judge Caprio doesn't know yet is that this case is about to expose something far worse than reckless driving. This is about a teenager who discovered his grandmother's kindness could be converted into cash. About a young man who saw family as a resource to be exploited. About an elderly woman who's been too ashamed to admit what's been happening to her. By the end of this hearing, that Mercedes will be impounded. Bank accounts will be investigated. And Marcus Chen will learn that charm and privilege don't work on everyone. This is what happens when entitlement crashes into accountability. Let's watch. Case number 4729, Marcus Chen. Multiple traffic violations, reckless endangerment, and fraudulent vehicle registration. Marcus saunters to the defendant's table. Not walks, saunters. Like he's walking onto a stage he owns. He's got wireless earbuds in, still listening to music. In a courtroom, Judge Caprio looks up, and there's a long pause before he speaks. "Young man, you're going to need to remove those earbuds." Marcus looks up, genuinely surprised anyone's talking to him. He pulls out one earbud. Just one. "What?" "Both of them. And I'd appreciate it if you addressed me as Your Honor." Marcus pulls out the second earbud with a little eye roll that everyone in the courtroom catches. He shoves them in his pocket. "Sure, Your Honor." The way he says it drips with sarcasm. Behind him sits a woman in her mid-40s. Perfectly styled hair, jewelry that catches the fluorescent lights. Designer handbag that probably costs more than most people's monthly rent. Marcus's mother. She's scrolling through her phone, barely paying attention. This is clearly an inconvenience in her busy day. "State your full name for the record." "Marcus Andrew Chen." "Mr. Chen, do you understand why you're here today?" Marcus shrugs. "Some tickets or whatever. I don't really keep track. My mom handles this stuff usually." A murmur runs through the gallery. An elderly man whispers loudly enough to be heard, "His mother handles his tickets?" Caprio's expression doesn't change, but his voice gets a little harder. "Your mother handles your traffic violations?" "Yeah, I'm in college. I don't have time to deal with this. She just pays them and we move on." "I see. And how many traffic violations would you say you've received in the past year?" Another shrug. "I don't know, 10, 15, not that many." Caprio flips through the file. According to these records, Mr. Chen, you've received 32 citations in the past 14 months. 32. Oh, damn. That's actually more than I thought. Marcus actually grins, like it's impressive, like it's something to be proud of. People in the gallery are shaking their heads. A woman in the third row actually puts her hand over her mouth in shock. Mr. Chen, these aren't parking tickets. You've been cited for excessive speeding. We're talking 90 in a 45 zone. You've been cited for street racing on public roads. You've run red lights. You were cited for doing donuts in a shopping center parking lot at 2 in the morning. Your Honor, the mother finally looks up from her phone. Marcus is young. He's still learning. We've been very responsible about paying every fine. Ma'am, being able to pay fines doesn't make reckless driving acceptable. She gives him a look that suggests she's used to getting her way and doesn't appreciate being contradicted. But she sits back down. Caprio returns his attention to Marcus. Let's talk about the vehicle you were driving when you received your most recent citation. A Mercedes-AMG GT. Beautiful car. Very expensive. Is that your vehicle? I mean, I drive it. That's not what I asked. Is the car registered in your name? I don't think so. Do you know whose name it's registered in? Marcus shifts in his seat for the first time, looking slightly uncomfortable. I think maybe my grandmother's, but she doesn't drive, so it's basically mine. And there it is. The temperature in the courtroom drops. Judge Caprio sets down his pen very deliberately. Your grandmother's. Yeah, but she's old. She doesn't even have a license anymore, so the car just sits there unless I use it. Mr. Chen, your grandmother is 79 years old, and according to these financial documents, she's been making monthly payments on this vehicle. Payments of $3,100 a month from her fixed income. Does that sound familiar to you? Marcus's casual demeanor flickers. I mean, she wanted to help me out. She wanted to help you out, Caprio repeats it slowly. Mr. Chen, your grandmother lives on Social Security and a small pension, and you think she can comfortably afford $3,100 a month? My mom said she was fine with it. Your mother said. I see. Caprio picks up another document. Mr. Chen, I have some additional financial records here that were subpoenaed for this case, and I'm seeing some things that concern me greatly. Your grandmother is listed as a witness. I'd like to hear from her directly. Marcus sits up straight, suddenly alert. Wait, my grandmother's here? Why is she here? Because this is her car we're discussing, and her money. Bailiff, please bring in Mrs. Diane Chen. The courtroom doors open slowly, and a tiny elderly woman shuffles in, leaning heavily on a cane. She's maybe 4'11". Her clothes are dated, worn. Her shoes have been resoled multiple times. Everything about her screams fixed income and struggling. She looks nothing like someone who can afford a $97,000 sports car. Marcus won't look at her. Suddenly his designer sneakers are fascinating. And everyone watching understands. This stopped being about traffic violations. A court officer helps Diane to the witness stand. She sits down slowly, wincing slightly. Arthritis, probably. She arranges her worn cardigan and looks at Judge Caprio with watery eyes. Caprio's entire demeanor shifts. His voice becomes soft, gentle. Mrs. Chen, thank you so much for coming today. I know it's not easy. Can you tell me about the car that's registered in your name? Diane's voice is thin, shaky. I didn't know what kind of car it was, Your Honor. Marcus came to me about 2 years ago. He said he needed a car for school. He said he got into a good college and needed reliable transportation. And you wanted to help your grandson. Of course. He's my only grandson. My daughter's only child. I wanted him to succeed. Her voice cracks. I thought I was helping him build a good future. Did Marcus explain to you how much this car would cost? He said it was around $20,000. A nice used car. Something safe and dependable for a college student. I have some savings from when my husband passed. I thought I could help. Mrs. Chen, this car cost $97,000. Her hand flies to her mouth. Her eyes go wide. 97,000? No. No, that can't be right. Nobody told me that. I would never. I couldn't afford, and the monthly payments you've been making. How much are they? $3,100, Your Honor. Every month for the past 19 months. Someone in the gallery actually gasps out loud. Caprio does the mental math instantly. That's nearly $60,000 in payments alone. Diane is shaking now. I've had to make choices, Your Honor. I stopped buying my blood pressure medication because I can't afford it and the car payment. I eat one meal a day. I keep my heat off even in winter because I can't pay for both heat and the car. I've been taking the bus everywhere because I can't afford gas for my old car anymore. Mrs. Chen, did Marcus or anyone in his family offer to help with these payments? He said he would pay me back once he got a job after college. He said it was temporary, just until he graduated. But, Your Honor, she looks directly at Marcus for the first time. You're not even in school anymore, are you? Marcus stares at the floor. You dropped out 6 months ago, and you didn't tell me. You let me keep making those payments thinking you were in college, building a future. But you're not. You're just using my money. Tears are streaming down her face now. Several people in the gallery are crying too. Judge Caprio leans forward gently. Mrs. Chen, I have some bank records here. You had a savings account with approximately $58,000. Your late husband's life insurance. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. That was supposed to last me the rest of my life. For emergencies. For medical care if I got sick. Chen and I saved that money for 43 years. According to these records, that account now has a balance of $3,200. The courtroom erupts. People are standing. The bailiff has to call for order twice. Diane looks like she's been physically struck. 3,200? But I don't understand. I've barely touched that account except for the car payments and... Her voice trails off as realization dawns. Marcus has my debit card. He said he needed it for emergencies, for textbooks and school supplies. Mrs. Chen, these records show regular ATM withdrawals, large withdrawals. $500 here, $800 there, $1,200. Do you know what these withdrawals were for? He said they were for school, for books, for lab fees, He said they were for school. Caprio picks up printed screenshots. Mrs. Chen, I have social media posts here. Photos Marcus posted online. March 14th. Posted from a casino in Atlantic City. Same day as an $800 withdrawal from your account. April 2nd. Posted from a music festival in California. Same day as a $1,200 withdrawal. May 19th. Posted from a luxury resort. Same day as a $1,500 withdrawal. Diane is openly sobbing now. He told me he was studying. He told me he was working hard. He told you what you wanted to hear, Caprio finishes gently. Your Honor, she whispers. I've been so hungry. I've been so cold. I thought I was sacrificing for his education, for his future. But he was just stealing from me. Marcus's mother stands up abruptly, face flushed. Your Honor, this is a family matter. Sit down, ma'am. Caprio's voice is ice. Your son has systematically drained his grandmother's life savings while she starved. If you were aware of this and did nothing, that makes you complicit. The mother sits down hard, face pale. An elderly man in the gallery stands, voice shaking with rage. Your Honor, my wife and I are in our 80s. We have grandchildren. If one of them did this to us, I can't even imagine. This boy needs to be held accountable. Another voice. My mother went through this with my brother. She lost everything. Please don't let this happen to her. The bailiff is trying to restore order, but the emotion in the room is overwhelming. Caprio waits for silence, then asks one more question. Mrs. Chen, why didn't you tell anyone what was happening? Diane wipes her eyes with a tissue someone handed her. Because I was ashamed, Your Honor. Ashamed that I couldn't see what my own grandson was doing. Ashamed that at 79 years old I was so stupid. And I was scared. Scared that if I said something, my daughter would be angry with me. Scared that I'd lose the only family I have left. Scared that I'd be all alone. She looks at Marcus one more time. I loved you. I trusted you. You were my grandson. And you destroyed me. The silence that follows is absolute. You can hear people breathing. You can hear the clock on the wall ticking. And Marcus Chen, 19 years old, still won't look at his grandmother. Judge Caprio turns to Marcus, and there's no warmth left in his voice. Mr. Chen, I've heard your grandmother's testimony. Now I want to hear from you, and I want the truth. Marcus finally looks up, but his voice is defensive. Your Honor, my grandmother sometimes forgets things. She gets confused. Stop. Caprio's hand goes up. Your grandmother is not confused. She's been very clear and very specific. So let me ask you directly. Did you tell your grandmother this car cost $20,000 when it actually cost $97,000? Silence. Did you tell her you were using her money for school expenses when you were actually using it for casinos and vacations? More silence. Did you drop out of college 6 months ago and continue to let her make car payments thinking you were still a student? Marcus's lawyer, a sharp-suited man who's been quiet until now, leans over and whispers something. Marcus shakes his head slightly. Caprio continues, relentless. Let's talk about these ATM withdrawals. $56,000 over 19 months. That's nearly $3,000 a month on top of the car payments. Where did that money go? I had expenses. What expenses? You live at home with your mother. You're not paying rent. You're not paying utilities. So where did $56,000 go? I had to. You needed what? Designer clothes? Parties? Casino trips? Caprio picks up more papers. I have receipts here that were pulled from your grandmother's credit card. Yes, she has a credit card in her name that she doesn't remember applying for. Would you like to explain that? Marcus goes pale. I don't know about any credit card. Really? Because this credit card has been used exclusively for purchases you made. Nightclubs, designer stores, online gambling sites. The card was applied for using your grandmother's information, but sent to your address. That's identity theft, Mr. Chen. Your Honor, I can explain. Then explain. Explain how a credit card in your grandmother's name that she didn't apply for ended up in your possession with $18,000 in charges. Marcus looks at his lawyer desperately. The lawyer whispers again. Marcus says nothing. Caprio picks up another document. There's more. Mrs. Chen, I need to ask you something. Last year, did Marcus ask you to sign some paperwork? Diane nods, wiping her eyes. He said it was for the car registration. He said I needed to sign to make it legal. Did you read what you were signing? My eyesight isn't good, Your Honor. Marcus said it was just the registration paperwork. He pointed to where I should sign, and I trusted him. What you actually signed was a personal loan agreement for $40,000 from a predatory lending company that charges 28% interest. The courtroom erupts again. People are shouting. The bailiff is calling for order. Diane looks confused and terrified. A loan? But I don't remember getting any money from a loan. You didn't get the money, Mrs. Chen. Marcus did. The loan was deposited into an account in your name, then immediately transferred to an account he controls. But I'm responsible for paying it back. According to this contract, yes. You're currently 3 months behind on payments. The company is threatening legal action. Diane puts her face in her hands. I didn't know. I didn't know about any of this. Marcus's mother stands again. Your Honor, if there was confusion about paperwork, confusion, Caprio's voice could cut steel. Ma'am, your son forged a loan in his grandmother's name for $40,000. That's not confusion. That's fraud. And if you knew about any of this and said nothing, you're complicit in elder abuse. The mother's face goes from red to white. She sits down without another word. A woman from the gallery stands. Your Honor, I'm a social worker. I see cases like this every week. This is textbook financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. This young man is a predator. Caprio nods. Thank you, ma'am. And you're absolutely right. He turns back to Marcus. Mr. Chen, let me make sure I understand the full picture. You lied to your grandmother about the cost of a car. You convinced her to finance it in her name. You took her debit card and withdrew thousands of dollars for personal entertainment. You opened a credit card in her name without her knowledge. And you forged her signature on a loan agreement for $40,000. Does that about sum it up? Marcus stares at his hands. And while you were doing all this, your grandmother was skipping meals and medications to afford the payments you convinced her to make. She was cold in winter because she couldn't afford heat and car payments. She was taking the bus everywhere because she couldn't afford gas. And you? You were posting photos from casinos and resorts. The weight of it hangs in the air like smoke. Mr. Chen, you didn't just steal money. You stole your grandmother's security, her health, her dignity. And you did it while looking her in the eye and calling her Grandma. Judge Caprio takes a long breath, looking at the mountain of evidence before him. When he speaks again, his voice is iron. Marcus Chen, stand up. Marcus stands slowly, and for the first time since walking into this courtroom, he looks genuinely scared. I've been on this bench for over 3 decades. I've seen every kind of case, every kind of defendant. People who made honest mistakes. People who had momentary lapses in judgment. But what you've done isn't a mistake. It's not a lapse. It's systematic, calculated exploitation of your own grandmother. Marcus opens his mouth, but Caprio cuts him off. Don't speak. You've said nothing truthful since you walked in here. Now you listen. He picks up his pen. Here's what's going to happen. First, the Mercedes-AMG GT registered in Diane Chen's name is hereby impounded, effective immediately. You will surrender the keys to the bailiff right now. The vehicle will be sold, and all proceeds will go to your grandmother to offset the financial damage you've caused. Your Honor, that's my car. It's your grandmother's car that she's been paying for while starving. Hand over the keys, now. Marcus reluctantly pulls keys from his pocket and hands them to the bailiff. Second, the credit card fraudulently opened in your grandmother's name is hereby reported to law enforcement. The balances will be investigated and challenged. Third, the loan agreement will be reviewed by the district attorney's office for fraud. If it's determined you forged your grandmother's signature, You'll face criminal charges for forgery and identity theft. Caprio's voice gets harder. Fourth, you are ordered to repay your grandmother $56,000 in ATM withdrawals, plus $60,000 in car payments she's made, plus $18,000 in credit card charges. That's $134,000, plus interest. Marcus sways on his feet. I don't have that kind of money. Then get it. Get a job. Get 2 jobs. Get 3 jobs. Sell everything you own. But you will repay every single penny, even if it takes you the rest of your life. Fifth, I'm referring this case to the district attorney for immediate criminal investigation. Financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Fraud. Identity theft. Forgery. These are serious felonies, Mr. Chen. You're looking at prison time. Marcus's mother gasps. Marcus himself looks like he might pass out. Sixth, you are ordered to have no contact with your grandmother unless supervised by the court or law enforcement. No calls, no texts, no showing up at her house. You've lost that privilege. Caprio sets down his pen and looks directly at Marcus. You know what the worst part of this is? Your grandmother would have helped you if you'd just been honest. If you'd said, "Grandma, I need help," she would have given you what she could. But you didn't ask. You stole. You lied. You manipulated. You saw her love as something to exploit. His voice drops. You're 19 years old. You had every advantage. A family with money, opportunities, a grandmother who loved you. And you squandered all of it to play big shot at casinos and post photos on social media. He picks up his gavel. All rulings are effective immediately. Mr. Chen, you're being taken into custody until your arraignment on the criminal charges. Your grandmother is getting her car back, her debts investigated, and the protection of this court. This hearing is adjourned. The gavel falls like a gunshot. 2 officers move toward Marcus. He looks around wildly. Mom, do something! But his mother just stares at him, tears streaming down her face. Ashamed. Angry. Lost. As they lead Marcus away, he finally looks at his grandmother. Grandma, I'm sorry, I didn't mean... But Diane turns away, leaning on her cane. She won't even look at him. And Marcus Chen, who walked into this courtroom with earbuds in and attitude for days, leaves in handcuffs with his head down. After Marcus is removed, Diane sits in the witness chair surrounded by victim advocates, elder services representatives, and social workers. They're speaking softly, explaining resources, rights, protection orders. Judge Caprio steps down from the bench and walks over to her. Mrs. Chen, I'm so sorry this happened to you. She looks up at him with red-rimmed eyes. Your Honor, will I really get the car money back? Yes. The car will be sold within the week and all proceeds go directly to you. We'll also investigate that fraudulent loan and credit card. We're going to fight for every penny he took. Will I have to see him again? Not unless you choose to. The court order protects you from contact. She nods slowly. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for believing me. Always, Mrs. Chen. Always. An elderly couple approaches as Caprio starts to leave. Your Honor, we're in our late 70s. We have grandchildren. This video is going to be shared everywhere. Thank you for showing people this is serious. It is serious, Caprio replies, and it's happening more than people realize. 3 days later, the Mercedes sells at auction for $89,000. The money is transferred directly to Diane's account. 1 week later, Marcus is formally charged with 6 felonies, including elder abuse, fraud, and identity theft. His bail is set at $50,000. His family pays it, but he's under house arrest with an ankle monitor. 2 weeks later, the predatory loan is investigated and found to be fraudulent.
Contract is voided. Diane is not responsible for repayment. 1 month later, Diane appears on local news looking tired but stronger. I want other grandparents to know, if your grandchild is asking for more and more money, if they're controlling your accounts, if something feels wrong, trust your instincts. Ask for help. The reporter asks, "Do you think you'll ever forgive Marcus?" Long pause. "I don't know. Right now I'm just trying to survive, to rebuild. Maybe someday, but not today." 6 weeks later, Marcus pleads guilty to avoid trial. He's sentenced to 2 years in prison, 3 years probation after release, and full restitution to his grandmother. The judge tells him, "You preyed on your own family. You deserve every day of this sentence." Back in Providence, Judge Caprio's ruling becomes a viral video, watched by millions, shared by families, used in elder abuse prevention workshops. Diane got her money back, her security back, her dignity back. Marcus got prison time, a felony record, and the knowledge that his own greed destroyed his relationship with the one person who loved him unconditionally. Sometimes justice is that simple.
There it is, folks. Marcus Chen, 19 years old, walked in with earbuds and attitude, left in handcuffs. But the real story here? Diane, 79 years old, barely 5 feet tall, and she stood in that courtroom and told the truth, even though it meant exposing her own grandson. Now, remember at the beginning when I asked where you're watching from? I need you to go down to those comments right now and tell me. Because this isn't just happening in Providence, it's happening in your city, your neighborhood, maybe even your family. And we need to talk about it. Here's what I need from you. 4 things. 1, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button right now. We're building a community of people who believe justice matters and elders deserve protection. 2, smash that like button. Every like helps YouTube show this video to more people, and families need to see this. They need to recognize the warning signs. 3, drop a comment. Tell me your city. Tell me if you've seen this happen. Tell me what you think Marcus's sentence should have been. Was 2 years enough? I read every single comment. 4, share this video. Post it on Facebook. Send it to your family group chat. Tweet it. Because somewhere right now, there's another Diane Chen who's too ashamed to speak up. And maybe this video gives her the courage. This is Caprio Courtroom Moments. I post videos like this every single week because real justice matters. Elder abuse matters. Protecting our vulnerable matters. Remember what Diane said. I loved you. I trusted you. And you destroyed me. Don't let that happen in your family. Watch for the warning signs. Ask questions. Protect your elders. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Let's make sure every Diane out there knows they're not alone. I'll see you in the next case.